Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's June 27th, 2023, and today I want to show you a few postcards that were either given to me or that I picked up out on one of my adventures. So, before I get to that, I want to thank you guys for subscribing, for liking, commenting, doing all those fun things. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, go ahead, feel free to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And leave me a comment if there's something in it that you like. We can talk about it. So thank you so much. Let's get to what I found along the way. First, I'm going to show you the things that I found, and then I will show you the things that were given to me. On Saturday, my wife and I went to go for a drive. It was a beautiful sunny day here, nice and hot. It was in the 30s, and we decided to drive down the coast and go to Fundy National Park and get some sticky buns in Alma, and just kind of make a random day of it. Just stop when we wanted to stop and see what we wanted to see. And so it was kind of nice. And then we ended up back at Ribfest for the second night in a row at the end of the night. But along the way, we found some postcards. One of the sections of postcards, I have a friend, Debbie James, who sent me a message saying, if you go to Ponderosa Pines RV Park, they're selling their postcards for 10 cents each. So that was a good deal. So I stopped in and I got postcard about cows for all of you who like animals. I got 2 of those. I got 2 postcards of this one here, Scenic New Brunswick. This is an observation point in Fundy National Park at Point Wolf. And there's the covered bridge. You can see that from one direction. The other direction you can see the inlet out. And then I got this card. I got 2 of these. This is Riverside Albert, and it shows the restaurants, and the lighthouse that's there. There's the old school that you can see. It's got a boys and girls side of the school, which is kind of interesting too. And the most interesting thing to me is this one here. This is the Bank of New Brunswick. So we no longer have the banks of New Brunswick. So that kind of shows how old it is. Here's another one too, showing the Bank of New Brunswick again, up close, and then the lighthouse, inlet out. So a couple more of those. And then I got this one here of Elgin, another community that you can see there's the post office sign, a couple of the buildings that are in there, the water that runs through. Elgin's has this is the Pollitt River. Every year the water runs high and people go tubing down the Pollitt River. So yeah, that's kind of fun. And then another one for people who like animals. I got a couple of these, just some deer cards. Deer as in D-E-E-R, not D-E-A-R. But who knows, maybe you write deer on the back of them. And then I didn't realize I got this one twice. There's another one. I got a couple more of those. I better put those all together if I can. Let's just give me a second. There we go. All right. And then a couple of this one here. This is the village of Hillsborough. And Hillsborough has a train museum and all sorts of interesting things. I may have done a video there in the past. If not, I probably will do one coming up because it's a nice little town. And then another one from Salem Hillsborough, showing the train museum, and then the old bridge. There's a beautiful wooden bridge down in Salem Hillsborough area, and not Salem is in Salem, Massachusetts, where the famous witch trials and things went, but Salem here in New Brunswick. And then I got all those at the Ponderosa Pines RV camp, and then as we continued down into Alma, or the home of the sticky buns, at Kelly's Bake Shop. I got some more of these. I've had these postcards in the past. They're $1 a piece, so I buy them more because it supports Kelly's Bake Shop and because I love the sticky buns, so I like to be able to send those cards off so other people can see them. Did you know cards are very popular too? So I got a Did You Know Lighthouses card. All the facts about lighthouses. New Brunswick has tons of lighthouses, 60 I think, and a lot of them are inland on riverways too. So not only do we have the Bay of Fundy where there's lighthouses and along the Northumberland Strait, but in along the St. John River too, there's lighthouses as well. And then Did You Know Moose? Not all moose have antlers like that. And did you know that moose shed their antlers too? That they shake them off their head and they'll grow back again? So just different facts that you might not know about moose. And then I found some art cards, which were really cool. I got 4 of these ones. This is Point Wolf again, the Point Wolf Estuary in Fundy National Park. This is a painting that's of low tide of Point Wolf, and it was commissioned by Fundy National Park to commemorate its 50th anniversary. So there you go. This was done by Gail Dujon. So I got 4 of those because I really like them. And as I've said in the past, Fundy National Park is one of my go-to spots whenever we want to go hiking, or it's always about 10 degrees cooler there than it is in the city. So on really hot days, when we have the time to get away, that's kind of where we like to go down to. And then this one here of Hopewell Rocks. I always send postcards out showing the flower pots and things like that, but this is there's a nice trail system that goes all the way down too. So this is kind of shows that lookout. And then, this one actually got bent a little bit. Oops, I don't know how I did that, but this one also is Hopewell Rocks. But if you look close, these are all birds. So every year, hundreds of thousands of semi-palmated sandpipers flock to the upper Bay of Fundy to feed on the rich mudflats. As the tide rises, the birds pack on what little shoreline is left to wait for their next feeding. So you'll see tons and tons of these birds. There is a sandpiper festival too in Dorchester, New Brunswick. So I used to work there for a little while, so you can go down and observe all the birds as they swoop in, eat, swoop out. The beautiful patterns, just hundreds of thousands of birds all at once. So it's pretty amazing. The last postcards that I got, now let's use this as an example. We got 2 sizes here. So we got this size postcard with the Hillsborough, and then the one I just showed you of the rocks, it's a little bit bigger. And then this size postcard. So yeah, this is another one of Fundy National Park. This is one of the beautiful views, and you come in and around. There is a beautiful amphitheater that you can go into and visit, and yeah, lots of different places to explore. But you can see how the coast is right there, and there's a nice lake in the middle. And there's tons of other lakes too. People go in there and go canoeing. I know even with the school that my kids went to, my son took a course called Outdoor Pursuits, and one of the things they do is they make a trip down to Fundy and they canoe down there and use some of the things they've learned, the rope tying skills and all the other things. So it's kind of nice to have that close by. All right, that's it for the cards that I found on the weekend. But I had a friend at work, Jennifer. She went with her boyfriend down to Texas, and they were helping out someone with their pool that they were installing at their house. And while she was there, she found me a few postcards and brought back. So I thought that was really nice of her. We have this scorpion in 3D. You can see it says San Antonio, Texas at the bottom. And then we have another one of those lenticular ones, Life is Colorful. You may not be able to see it. There we go. That's better. You can see the green key being depressed, and not as in being sad, but being pushed down. And then Come and Take It, the Battle of Gonzales, October 2nd, 1835. So this says, the Mexicans loaned the Texans in Gonzales a cannon to keep the Indians away, but then they thought better of the idea and asked for their cannon back. The request was politely denied, and 200 Mexican soldiers were sent to demand the cannon. Gonzales was fortified, and all who lived west of Guadalupe crossed the river into town. This flag was the Texans' answer to the first shots of the War of Independence, fired on October 2nd, 1835. So with that, this one says, you may all go to hell and I'll go to Texas. Very strong words. Davy Crockett was born in 1786 in East Tennessee, elected to Congress in 1827, and in 1829 as a Democrat. In 1835, he was defeated. Disgusted, he is quoted as saying, you may all go to hell and I'll go to Texas. True or not, he did leave Tennessee in November 1835 and appeared in East Texas. He was at the Alamo and died when it fell. So there's a little bit about Davy Crockett. This one, Howdy from Texas, the Lone Star State. You can see the backs. They're all postcards that I can now use to send off. Here's another one of the Alamo. Interesting thing about the Alamo, you see pictures like this, and it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, which what you'd kind of expect of the history of it. But when you go to the Alamo, it is right downtown. There's buildings on either side of it. There's a mall or something across the street from it. So it is very different from what you expect from these pictures here. Then here, kind of another interpretive rustic Texas flag. Looks like it was done maybe on wood. On the back it says the Texas flag was painted on the side of an old barn in Texas. Years of wind, rain, and sun have weathered this old but great flag of the state of Texas. So there you go, it is on wood. And then I bought some Did You Knows. Well, she bought a Did You Know as well. She bought a Did You Know armadillo. So a whole bunch of facts about armadillos. We'll have to read that before it gets sent off to someone else, so I can know my facts about armadillos as well. And for those of you who like recipe cards, she found a recipe cards and Texas chili. So you can pause it, you can zoom in and get the recipe here, or maybe you'll be the lucky one that eventually I'll be sending this off to. And I found a cow's card, and she found a cow's card. She found these Texas Longhorn. So it's interesting that we each found similar type cards. Now the last card I really like because it's a history. It's the Six Flags Over Texas. Six Flags Over Texas is the slogan used to describe the 6 nations that have had power over some or all the current state of Texas. Texas was an independent country from 1836 to 1845. So there you can see Old Glory, I guess, the current U.S. flag, which flew there from 1845 to 1861 and then 1865 to present. But in between 1836 to 1845, you have the Texas flag. And then the Confederate States of America from 61 to 65 is this flag. You have the flag of Mexico from 1821 to 1836. You have France from 1685 to 1690, so 5 years France had it. And before that, Spain had it from 1519 to 1685, and then briefly from 1690 to 1821. Not so briefly. So, the 6 Flags of Texas. So there, I learned something on these postcards as well. Hopefully you're learning a little bit too. I always enjoy getting postcards either in the mail or when people bring them back from their adventures, so I can see what it's about, see what kind of adventures they had, and then send them off to the rest of the world so other people can enjoy them, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing with all these postcards. So thanks for tuning in and watching. We'll see what else I get up to. It's a long weekend coming up here. I'm hoping the weather will cooperate. So far, work-wise, it has. It says it's supposed to rain every day. So Monday and Tuesday this week, I went to work. Didn't get rained on. It did rain later in the day, but not while I was working, so I'm happy about that. I work again tomorrow, and then I have Thursday, Friday off, which I've taken as personal days. Then we have Saturday, Sunday, and then we get Monday off too because Canada Day falls on the weekend, so I have 5 days coming up. I'm sure I'll shoot some sort of videos and get into some sort of adventures while off, and I'll try to take you along with me. So for you guys, have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye.